Hello! In this video we're going to go over a specific piece, Hornet from the Hollow Knight Piano Collections, the official one published by Materia. There's a link to it in the description below. I'm making this video because I've had some people ask me about it, about how to play it. So I'm going to go over some technical aspects of the music as well as some of the music side of it too. Let's start by just playing a little bit of it. Alright, we'll just stop there. That's what we have. I think an important part of this piece is keeping it on the lighter side, like think upwards motions rather than downwards. Try to keep everything upwards. You'll get a much better, crisper sound this way, and it has a lot of energy in the sound too if you play it this way. If you play it like really heavy and really downwards into the piano, it just doesn't quite have the energy that I think this music has within it. So even if you see dynamic markings like a forte or something like that, like still try to keep it a lighter forte. Still think upwards motions rather than downwards. And I think one way you can kind of practice this is just practicing staccato. Just practice everything staccato. In a very light plucking kind of staccato, like think how you might pluck like a guitar, or like doing pizzicato on a string instrument like violin or something like that. A very light staccato. And for some of you that may be pretty difficult to play staccato like that, so it may take some time, but just try to be patient with it and trust in the process. So one cool thing about this piece is this kind of battle between, or maybe not a battle, but a meshing of this simple meter versus compound meter. So compound meter is when beats are subdivided into threes. So for example, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Simple meters when the beats are divided into twos. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Think 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And this piece kind of mixes the two. So you'll have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And in places like here, the right hand is doing threes while the left hand is doing twos. So they're often happening at the same time. And there's actually a fancy name for this when you mix two different meters at the same time. It's called a hemiola. It's not super important to know, but I would mention it anyway. So another thing to keep in mind with this piece, on top of always being kind of on the light up side of playing this piece, is I'll always keep in mind phrasing or shape. So you don't want to just play it like try to give some sort of shape to longer strings of notes. So ya da da dee da dum, ya da dee da dee dum, ya da da dee da da bum, bum ya da da dee da dum, bum. dun, ya da da dee do 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 ya da da dee da da ya da 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 dee. All right, one quick thing about these fast notes here. Just try to keep all these fast notes like really light. Again, do a lot of a lot of staccato light practice. And going from measure 9, again, try to think about phrasing here. And starting at measure 17, you don't need to pay this much attention to this, but if you look at the difference between the notes with the stems going upwards and the stems going downwards, we all know what it sounds like with the notes with the stems going upwards. It's just the theme of Hornet. But with the stems going downwards, it's like kind of a variation of the main theme. Also, Hornet's theme is a variation of the White Palace theme, or the White Palace theme is a variation of Hornet's theme. I'm not sure which one came first. It is pretty cool how a lot of the music in Hollow Knight are all kind of variations of each other. So for example, the main theme occurs a lot in the battle against Hollow Knight, and then Green Path is also a variation of the main theme, as well as Dirtmouth too. That's also a variation of the main theme as well. All right, let's go over some technical things. All right, let's look at measure 23. This is a difficult run just because of that first double note there. So what I recommend here is, again, staccato practice. Like, just get off of that double note as fast as you can. Da-dum, dee-dum, and maybe use like a little bit of elbow pull, and not quite this much. It's just a little bit. So ya-dum, so dee-dum, dee-da, da-dum, elbow, and then your thumb. Ya-dum, ya-dum. Yeah, just make sure you get off of that double notes like as quickly as you can, because if you don't, then that will really both slow down the run and also make it unclear too. Let's look at this run at the end of the second page. So let's start with just the right hand, because that's probably the hardest part. So I think what's intended here is just for it to sound like a harp or even a glissando on the piano. So how do you practice it to get that fast and to get that sound? Again, staccato practice. But one thing that I would do too is group it up. So group it up into the hand positions. So for example, then stop, 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 stop. And then as you get better at it, you try to have that stop be shorter and shorter. And another way to practice this too is grouping, but grouping them differently. So maybe you do a long, short, long, short, long. Long, short, long, short, long, short, long. And then you can flip that around. So go short, long, short, long. And then you can group it up in different ways. Like you can do groups of 3. So stop, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then you can maybe do groups of 5, maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Yeah, and you can practice stopping on different notes. Maybe you can do groups of 4, but stopping on a different note each time. So maybe, for example, you'll stop on the second finger. And then you can stop on the third finger. And again, just to remind you, like, try to keep it light, especially in the beginning of it, because there is a crescendo there, so. Keep it light until, maybe the last, like, 4 notes or so, last 4 or 5 or 6 notes. You don't need to, like, dig into the keys so much. If you dig in, then it'll be hard to play fast. All right, so about lining up the left and the right hands. Let's try that again. There we go. So you can do what I just did, and I just line it up by ear. But I know that's very difficult to do because it takes a lot of independent control of each hand. What I recommend you do is that if it's printed right, it's printed well, the music should already be lined up the way it should be played to correctly line up the hands. So what I mean is that, these first notes will obviously come together, but the second note in the left hand will come maybe somewhere around there, and then this one, the third note in the left hand, will come probably a little bit after that E maybe, and then this one, the fourth note in the left hand, comes like kind of in between the B and the E here, and then the C somewhere, maybe it's lined up with that, maybe it's somewhere kind of in between or a little bit before that note in the right hand right here. So something like that. They should already be lined up semi-well, assuming the music was spaced correctly, which isn't always the case, so you need to be careful. Continuing on with more technical talk, let's look at measure 40. So here you have more double note stuff, which is hard. Like these things, this one's not so bad because it's just thirds, but these other ones are pretty difficult because you're having to like repeat a note while at the same time playing fast notes with the other fingers. So I would recommend here that you practice each part separately, so just play the thumb. And then the upper part, and then slowly together. It's important that you get off of the thumb on the first 16th note as quick as you can, and it makes it easier to repeat. Yeah, and again, keep it light. Don't dig into the keys. Just try to be on the surface of the key. Whoops. So I'll make a confession. I've performed this piece like a bunch of times. I've played it in many video game concerts that I've done, and I actually kind of cheated here. I left out the repeated note and just played this. So I leave out the thumb on the beats. So that's an option that you could do because nobody will hear that anyway. And it does make it a lot easier to play to leave out the thumb on the first note of the beat, that first 16th note. Like this is so much easier than it's hard. Okay, let's talk about measure 43, this part. So again, keep it very, very, very light. don't dig into the keys too much, or it will just slow you down so much. One thing too with this part is try to use the wrist a little bit. So don't just use the fingers, but try to da da dee da dee da dee da. Use a little bit of wrist rotation to kind of roll through the notes. Dee da dee da dee dum. Let's see. Yeah, dee da dee. Just kind of roll through the notes. Da da dee da dee da. You could also supplement your practice with practicing these ideas with like just a scale. So just go do a scale, but just the first 3 fingers. You go C, D, E, D, E, F, E, F, G. Here, I'll show you exactly what I mean. So. And then you can go down, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2. Yeah, and you can practice this with the other fingers as well. So you can practice it with the 3 fingers here. As well as the outside ones if you want a challenge. So this is an exercise that I like quite a bit. It's pretty fun to play. And again, keep it light. Don't dig into the keys. And it's the same on the top of page 4 too. Just keep everything light. So you do have an extra note on top, the E. But it's still the same idea, like da da da. Like try to roll the wrist a little bit along with the fingers. One quick thing I want to mention is when you have all that fortissimo stuff starting at around like 40, 48, like still keep it on the light side. You don't want to be too heavy with any of this. Measure 62. Again, keep it light. That's kind of the theme of this video, I guess, is just keeping it light. If you dig into this, it's just gonna be so hard to play. Just keep it very light. And again, staccato practice. You can do what we talked about too with this thing. Practice it with I call them stops, but some people call them rhythms. So you can do long, short, long. And do different rhythms like that. So that was long, short, long. You can do short, long, and you can do groups of 3s, groups of 4s, groups of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Let's talk about measure 65 for the last technical thing of this video. So I've practiced this with different fingerings. Like I've done 1, 4, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, and then the chord. And that works, but it's really hard. I would instead do 2, 5 on the double notes. And then again, use a little bit of elbow, just kind of thing, pull in like just a tiny amount, like just a microscopic amount. And try to keep it short too. And then use your thumb on the E after the double note. This is measure 65 again. I think that's a much better fingering. Okay, and just really quick, going from measure 69, so this is near the end, all these 16th notes, just split them between the hands. So right hand, then left hand, right hand, right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand, left hand. This can all be right. I don't think this run is really that hard to play. Okay, well that's about it. I hope you've learned something from this. Let me know if you have any other questions about this specific piece from the Hollow Knight piano collections. That's all for now. Bye.